customer service is one of those things you can't compete with every single big business out there on marketing, on software, but you can always compete on customer service. And I think some people, they start with that mindset, but as they scale, it gets harder and harder to find the right people that makes that customer service at the same level with 20 people as you had when you were just doing every email yourself. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you've been able to hire people that have that same high standard, that give the same end result to your clients?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I'd say that building process, it's the same as outsourcing, right? Building process, training, and developing company culture. And so it's kind of silly, like when I've read about it in books, but like we studied Zappos and we studied these other companies where the culture was built around customer success. And we've really built that into our core as well. So our engineers at time, they pair with customer support. So they actually hear what the customers are complaining about. We don't do it as much anymore, but we used to bring engineers to trade shows to hear about it directly from the customers. We train our customer support people, not just on our tools, but we train them on how to take information from a customer and turn that into a fix or a feature. We also train our customer support people how to understand whether a problem is user error or a problem is software error, because that's a tricky thing as well, right? Customers always want to believe that the software isn't working, and sometimes it's the customer who isn't working, or the expectation of the software is different than what they're getting. And so by training, we've also had by training and really I'll say retaining, we've been able to retain our customer success people. So, Tyler, who works for me in business development, came from customer support. Caroline, who a lot of people who've met at trade shows, came from customer support. So a lot of people who have, one of our lead engineers started as a customer support person. So we really see customer success in our company as an entry point into all different positions in the company. The person who is our lead strategist for our managed service around advertising started as a customer support person. The person who does sales, right? So we have all these people in our company who grew out of customer support. So when you get hired for your first job with Seller Labs and you're making an hourly wage, you look around the company and you see all these other people who work at the company now who started in where you are, and you see a path for the growth of your career, and you buy into the customer success philosophy that we have, and you see that you can actually, by doing well in your job, you can grow. Finally, the whole company, every employee in the company is bonused based off of customer success. And so we don't just talk about it as one person's job to do it. We consider every role in the company to be critical to customer success. And so we have a metric that we follow around customer success. And that metric is something that's part of everybody's end of year bonus.
Jeff, I love it. And I actually just made a Facebook post the other day that customer service is that position you have to retain people. If you're turning people over every 6 months, it becomes impossible to build relationships with your customers. Yeah. People see other people leaving. They want to bounce. So customer support is one of those things you have to invest in. You have to get out of the mindset of, oh, they're cheap people. They're just followers and I got to lowball them and save money there and invest elsewhere. You got to keep money in customer support. And I love bonusing based on that. Can you give people a feel for how many developers you have, how many customer service people you have, and talk a little bit about how they communicate with each other?
Yeah. So one thing on what you just mentioned, which is that our turnover of customer success is people leaving for other positions in our company.
Right.
And it's funny because John, who runs our customer success, is like constantly like, oh man, and it's like we hire and train people so well in customer success that within 6 months to 12 months, they're ready for another position in our company. So it's really become kind of like a feeder system for the company. In terms of how the interaction works between engineering and support, I would say that our company, we're around 60 employees. I would say that we're probably, I'll call it a third. So we're a third around what I'll call general operations, marketing, product, and then we're a third around engineering and a third around customer support. Those numbers all kind of shift in different ways over time. But it gives you a general sense of about where we're at. I think that the way that we work together is that both our customer support team, our account managers, they pair with engineering, and they pair with the product team. And so when like, for example, our account managers have a list of feature requests. They weight that feature request list based off of who's asking for particular features. And then on a regular basis, I don't remember if it's weekly or biweekly, they meet with the product team to go over what the biggest needs are from the market that they see. Now, customer support does something similar to that, and they're able to bring that more from a bug enhancement standpoint to say, this would really, if we solve these 3 issues, it would reduce the number of emails that we get or the number of phone calls that we get. And so we look at all of these different channels, and we look at how we can use those to improve our product. Then finally, we have what we call an engineering escalation team, which pairs with the customer support team on a weekly basis, because a lot of our issues can be resolved just specifically by our customer support people digging into the software. Every once in a while, we need an engineer to have to go in and do a deeper dig. This actually happened at the trade show we were talking about. A customer brought a problem to us. We could see that the problem existed, but we needed an engineer to go in and figure out, because when a customer tells you a problem or a challenge, they're telling you what they see. It's our job, it's customer support's job to figure out are they seeing the wrong data? Are we presenting the wrong data? Are they interpreting the data incorrectly? Are they trying to do something with the data that's different than what we intend the tool to do, right? They have all these things that they have to go through to figure out, like, is it a bug? Is it an enhancement that needs to happen? Is it retraining? Is it marketing that needs to change the wording of something because there's added confusion? So in this particular case, we were able to go and we needed an engineer. Engineer went and dove into the data. We realized that we had all of the data on the back end, but for some reason, part of their data wasn't showing up on the front end. We were able to get back to the customer within an hour, tell them that we understood exactly what the problem was. The data was there. The data was present. And we gave them a timeline for fixing the front end of the problem, which I think has now been resolved in less than 24 hours. So that's the way our teams kind of pair and work with each other. That's a prime example. We have somebody on the customer support team whose specific role is taking the information from customer support and translating it to engineering for deeper dives and information. So we've built out all these systems and processes as we scaled as a business, because it's really easy when you've got a couple hundred customers. When you start getting to thousands of customers, you have to build all these systems and processes and procedures and ways for the departments to interact with each other. And that's really, in all honesty, like when we step back and we look at, like, I think we're about to hit our 6-year anniversary in April, and we step back and we look at like where the company has grown and where we've matured as managers and facilitators of the growth of the company. That's the stuff that just kind of blows us away, because I know how support worked 5.5 years ago when I started, and I know that it was a cornerstone of our business. And today it works in a totally different way, and it's still a cornerstone of our business.
I love it. Guys, if you're listening, that's gold. The communication between the support staff and the software side. I mean, even with Free Up, we do the same thing. People will report bugs or different feedback. And if you don't have that open communication and an actual process to communicate back and forth, you struggle. And it took us a little while to figure that out. You mentioned this is year 6. Let's go back to year 1. And I know with a software company, you can spend forever trying to perfect that product before you get it out there. And especially with Amazon, when things are constantly changing, how do you find that balance between let's keep improving the software to let's just get it out to market and get some feedback and